You feel it before you understand it. Not a sound, not a flash, just a strange, impossible stillness, like the world held its breath and forgot to let go. It is 7:14 in the morning. You are standing at your kitchen window with a cup of coffee, and something is wrong. The birds outside have gone silent. Your neighbor's wind chimes hang perfectly still, and then you notice it. The shadow on your backyard wall is not moving, not even slightly. You check your phone. 7 minutes pass. The shadow does not move 1 millimeter. The Earth has stopped rotating, not slowed, not wobbled, stopped. And the next 24 hours will be unlike anything your species has ever survived. Let's talk about what actually happens to you, to your city, to your planet. The Earth normally rotates at roughly 670 kilometers per hour at the equator. That is the speed your body is traveling right now, without you feeling a single thing, because everything around you, the air, the ground, the oceans, moves with you. But if the Earth suddenly stopped, you would not stop with it. This is basic physics. Sir Isaac Newton described it in his first law of motion. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. If the planet underneath you halts instantly, you become a projectile. Everything on the surface, every car, every building, every person, every ocean, would continue moving east at 1,670 kilometers per hour. You would be launched sideways with the force of the most powerful hurricane ever recorded, times 1,000. Entire cities would be scraped off the surface like frost off a windshield. The oceans, which hold 1.335 billion cubic kilometers of water, would surge across the continents in walls hundreds of meters high. Most life on Earth would end in the first 10 minutes. But let's say the Earth stopped slowly, gradually, over the course of hours, decelerating like a car braking to a halt. Scientists at NASA and geophysicists at institutions like the United States Geological Survey have modeled scenarios like this. The outcome is still catastrophic, just survivable for some. Here is what your day looks like. In the first hour, you notice the sky is behaving strangely. The sunrise, which normally moves because the Earth turns beneath it, is frozen in place. The sun sits on the horizon and does not rise. If you are on the side of Earth facing the sun when it stops, you will stay in daylight, permanently, for 12 hours, then longer. The same patch of land will bake under direct sunlight for months. If you are on the night side, you will stay in darkness for just as long. Atmospheric scientist Dr. Michael Allison, who has studied planetary rotation at NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies, has noted that the planet's atmosphere does not stop when the solid Earth does. The air keeps moving. What you would experience is a global wind event unlike anything in recorded history. Sustained winds of 1,670 kilometers per hour at the equator, tearing across the surface. Category 5 hurricanes top out at 250 kilometers per hour. These winds would be 6 times stronger. By hour 3, the atmosphere has begun to reorganize itself. Without rotation, Earth loses the Coriolis effect, the invisible force that bends wind and ocean currents into the spiral patterns that drive weather on every continent. Named after French mathematician Gaspard Gustave de Coriolis, who described it in 1835, this force is why hurricanes spin, why jet streams curve, why weather systems move the way they do. Without it, the entire global climate machine shuts down and rebuilds from scratch. Storms would not spiral. They would collapse and reform in strange, unpredictable straight-line patterns. Rain would fall in places that have not seen it in centuries. Deserts would flood. Rainforests would dry out. Your body, if you have survived, is beginning to feel the effects of something else. The Earth's magnetic field, which protects every living thing on this planet from the sun's deadly radiation, is generated by the movement of liquid iron in Earth's outer core, driven in part by the planet's rotation. This was confirmed through the work of geophysicist Edward Bullard in the 1940s and 1950s, whose dynamo theory explained why Earth behaves like a giant electromagnet. Without rotation, that dynamo weakens. The magnetic field does not disappear instantly. It takes thousands of years to fully collapse, but it begins to degrade. Within decades, if rotation did not resume, the Van Allen radiation belts, the invisible shields of charged particles held in place by our magnetic field, would deteriorate. Solar radiation would penetrate the atmosphere. Cancer rates would rise. Unprotected skin outside would become dangerous. Over generations, life near the surface would become untenable without underground shelter. But today, right now, hour 6, you are still alive. The daylight side of Earth is getting hotter. The sunlit hemisphere has now been absorbing solar radiation for 6 continuous hours without the normal rotation that distributes heat evenly. Ground temperatures in equatorial regions begin to climb past 60 degrees Celsius. Asphalt melts, metal surfaces become impossible to touch, rivers on the sun side begin to evaporate. Meanwhile, on the night side, temperatures are plummeting. Without the sun's warmth, and without the winds and ocean currents that normally distribute heat, temperatures drop below minus 100 degrees Celsius in some regions. The atmosphere itself begins to partially liquefy near the poles, where liquid nitrogen temperatures approach the surface. You find shelter. You find water. You think about your family. The geography of Earth is also changing beneath your feet. Without centrifugal force from rotation, Earth's shape would change. Right now, our planet bulges slightly at the equator, 43 kilometers wider than it is from pole to pole, because of the outward push of rotation. Stop that rotation, and the equatorial bulge relaxes. Water that currently sits at the equator migrates toward the poles. Sea levels at the equator drop by dozens of meters. A new shallow sea forms across the Arctic and Antarctic regions. New land emerges at the equator. Ancient coastlines are redrawn overnight. By hour 12, something unexpected happens. Silence. Not the silence of absence. A different kind of silence. The violent winds have begun to settle. The atmosphere, having released its stored rotational energy, is finding a new equilibrium. You step outside for the first time in hours. The sky is either blazing blue and punishing or pitch black and freezing, depending on which hemisphere you are standing in. And the sun is still exactly where it was this morning. It has not moved an inch. At hour 24, the planet is unrecognizable. Approximately 1/3 of the surface is still burning in direct sunlight. 1/3 is frozen in total darkness. The narrow band between them, the Terminator Line, the boundary between day and night, is the only habitable zone. A thin strip of perpetual twilight circling the planet from pole to pole, roughly 200 to 400 kilometers wide. Geologist Chris Scotese of Northwestern University has called these types of transition zones on tidally locked planets, planets that have stopped rotating relative to their star, the only plausible locations for biology to persist. Humanity's survivors would migrate there, slowly, painfully, millions of them, on foot, carrying what they could. The Terminator Line would become the most valuable strip of real estate in the history of civilization. Now, here is the twist you did not see coming. Earth has been moving toward this scenario for billions of years, and you have been living through it without realizing it. The moon has been stealing Earth's rotational energy since the two bodies formed. Every year, Earth's rotation slows by 1.4 milliseconds. That seems meaningless until you realize that 620 million years ago, a day on Earth was only 21.9 hours long. The fossil record confirms it. Ancient coral growth rings analyzed by paleontologist John Wells in the 1960s showed that Devonian corals recorded 400 days per year, not 365. Earth has been breaking for a very long time, and the moon itself stopped rotating relative to Earth billions of years ago. That is why you only ever see one face of it. It is already tidally locked, the same fate Earth would eventually face. The Earth's rotation is not permanent. It never was. You already live on a planet that is slowly, inevitably spinning down. So tonight, as you set your alarm for tomorrow morning, think about what that alarm is actually measuring. 7 hours of sleep. The planet rotating 105 degrees beneath you. The sun swinging back into position because the Earth kept moving while you slept. The next time the world feels ordinary, remember, it is rotating at 1,670 kilometers per hour, generating a magnetic field that blocks radiation from space, distributing heat across every continent, driving every weather system on the planet, all at once, all invisibly, all because the ground beneath your feet refuses to stop. The day it stops, you will feel it, and you will understand, for the first and last time, just how extraordinary ordinary was.
And that's today's hypothesis. If you enjoyed this journey into the impossible, hit subscribe and join the Stickman Hypothesis universe. See you in the next What If?